Good morning and welcome to another edition of Day 4 with the man Frank SCALISH, back from the Bassmaster Classic. And Frank had a little mishap this morning as he was preparing for the show. You know, you always roll in, you're looking top notch, wearing the BTL merch, ready to roll, and a little mishap in the show prep.
Yeah, I had a little shaving accident. I cut myself right underneath my nose.
Like on the bottom bridge of the nose, or like the skin underneath the nose?
The skin underneath the nose.
Like you just went like that and then like pulled the razor up to where it...
And I got myself, and I've been trying to stop the bleeding for an hour.
That's the worst. Are you I picture you as like the single razor guy who like whips up the shaving cream with the deal and then, puts it on and then shoom one.
No, I have to be honest with you. I got shaved one time with a straight razor, and I had a panic attack the minute he put it up to my throat.
Really? So you're like a multi-razor guy. Like you're the one with just the choo choo choo.
Yeah, the Harry's razor. I
get the blades. And then I put it in like it's like Van Buren or something.
Oh yeah,
like that.
I know.
And
exactly.
then you screw that in. Then it's like the single.
Yeah, those are good too.
This sounds odd. Brad Hallman taught me how to shave with a single blade razor at the U.S. Open.
I'm not even going down this.
No, we were moving together, and I was like, man, I keep getting these ingrown hairs on my neck. He said that's because you're using a cheap razor. And then the single blade right there. And then you use some really high quality shave cream, not too much.
Right. What's funny? My dad used to shave with those. You put them in and the thing clicks shut on them.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's what I use.
So my dad used to shave with those. So when I was a kid, and here, do not try this at home. Do not try this at home. We had these things called erector sets, and they were basically metal things with holes. Yeah,
like metal Lincoln logs.
Yeah, with holes in them, and you bolt them all together and everything. They came with little electric motors. You could do all kinds of stuff with them. So I got a hold of my dad's double-sided razor blades, and I got one of those electric motors, and I put the razor blade on the end of the electric motors, and I made a table saw so I could cut balsa wood with it.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
So, but don't try it at home, because if you're a child listening to this show, this is dangerous. Don't.
Yeah. No. My dad has twice cut his finger off on a table saw. Separate occasions.
That's my. Yeah. I have a really good table saw, and I'm horrified.
Yeah. No. He had to get skin grafts. He's probably listened to this show. He listens occasionally. He's not going to want me to tell this story. I don't know if I've told this story, but the second one,
I have not heard it.
Took a lovely chunk out of the index finger where they had to take a skin graft.
Beautiful.
And they took a skin graft from his inner thigh, skin grafted on it. Now he has to pluck the hairs out of it. It's a true story. I mean, everything works, but apparently the hair follicles were included in the change. You know where I'm going with that story.
Yeah, I do. We're gonna cut it right there.
Yeah, way too much information. I'll get a text here in a second.
Your dad will be so pissed.
We're gonna talk about fishing today. There's obviously a big trend that we're seeing that's happening this year, whether it's the Open. We saw it in the BPT that just took place on Waco and Whitney, and then it is what dominated the Bassmaster Classic, and that is that transitional period when the fish are not like true pre-spawn, but they're not on the beds. And it just seems like as we've gone around the country, there's been that 2 or 3 week window where the big girls are up and roaming, and very difficult to catch. But this year, guys have figured out that pattern and that bite. And it kind of reminded me, I know you've done some shows on flats and subtle differences. So we're going to dive into that a little bit later on in the show. We do have 2 giveaway opportunities for the signature series color number 7 that Frank and Lure Net and Pradco were generous enough for the the signing opportunity at the Bassmaster Classic, which we're going to talk about. But if you weren't able to get there today, if you weren't at the Bassmaster Classic and you're listening live this morning, at the end of the show, we will pick someone in the comments to give away one of those. And then if you're listening on iTunes or the replay, today is March 19th. Next week's show, which is March 26th, we'll pick either a review from iTunes. So if you haven't left a review on iTunes, leave a ranking and a review. I'll put all those in a Tumblr along with YouTube comments from this show. Leave a comment on what your thoughts were on the Bassmaster Classic. Good, cool, bad, and different, as long as it is a well thought out opinion and not just a rant.
Right. No,
you will be 100% registered for that. So that gives us an opportunity to give away some of these baits that we pulled a few back for, because we know not everyone was at the Classic. Although, Frank, it did seem like everyone was at the Bassmaster Classic last week.
It was a fabulous turnout. Very humbling experience, to be honest with you. Matt and I had a huge crowd of people to meet and greet, and it was absolutely phenomenal. The thing that I like the most about this is that you never know who you're going to meet. We meet people from all. Dude, I know, man. I can't get up now. We're live, so I'm gonna fight through this.
Put a little bit of Vaseline closes off that cut.
Yeah,
you can't see it. Like I think even if I go,
don't blow me up. Don't blow me up.
You can't see it. You look good.
All right. So
if it starts dripping down your nose and your lip, I'll let you know.
Outstanding. So you never know who you're going to meet. We meet people from all walks of life, and it's absolutely phenomenal. One of the greatest things that happened with all of this is the people that watch this and the people that we meet along the way. I was walking downstairs before one of our autograph sessions, and I met a family, Andy, Jennifer, and a young man named Grant, and spent a while talking to them. And the nicest people in the world. And I said, hey, if you're not doing anything, stop up to the booth, and I got some lures and stuff to give you. And Grant had some misfortunes in his life, and he he's healing, but he's subject to a wheelchair.
This is the frog fisherman.
Yes, and he loves frog fishing.
I didn't know you were going to tell this story. I took a picture from our booth, and that's the thumbnail.
Show the guys the thumbnail.
Well, if they logged onto the show, they had to see it at the beginning. I can't show it now because we're live.
Oh, because we're live. Okay, my bad. My bad. I don't know. Hey, I am not a tech works there. I am not a technical genius. We all know that already, except when it comes to my locators. But anyway, super people. I met a lot of great people at this Classic. That family stands out to me, because in spite of everything that they've gone through and are going through, they are legitimately kind and courteous and caring and blessed. Mm-hmm. And it moved me to a point, like I'm a sentimental guy, but this was impressive. These people are impressive people. And I had to give them a shout out. And then they came back the next day and gave Matt and I handwritten letters. Really good people. Anyway, that's my heartfelt moment of the day.
Yeah, I mean the same thing for me though. But if you're at the Classic, or I think greatly appreciate you guys waiting in the line to hang out with me and Frank. And the thing that I liked was I don't know, I was a lot more mellow this Classic than I think I have been in past Classics. Like I wasn't trying to get from one place to the other. So I had some really good conversations and met some great people from all across the country. A lot of people from Indiana at this Classic. I don't know if you noticed that. It seemed like every third person we met was from the Hoosier state.
Indiana and Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was fabulous. And here, Matt, the last time we were at Knoxville, we had like 15 or 16 fans from Canada.
Yeah.
There. So I love to see that. That's pretty badass. And the fact of the matter is they had to drive through some major inclement weather to get there.
Yeah. Weather at the Classic was phenomenal, though.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
When we had it there and walked around, but overall, it was a great Classic. Definitely a younger skewed top 10, third youngest Classic winner ever with the Dylan Nutt.
Listen, you're a history buff, so I have a question for you. Not to cut you off, but I just totally cut you right off.
No, I do that all the time, and people remind me of it on a regular basis. I have a little note that says, shut the hell up right here.
Yeah, and I apologize. But
you don't have to apologize for it.
How old was Brian Kershaw?
He was 23.
Okay, so he was a year older.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in 1994.
All right. So
he was either 23 or 24. He was right there. He was a year older than Dylan Nutt, but then I believe the youngest was Stanley Mitchell.
Oh, yeah, you're right, dude.
He was 21 when he won the Bassmaster Classic.
So this isn't new.
It's not common, but no, it's not new.
Yeah, okay. Should we tell the Kershaw story for those that don't know?
I'd be curious on your rendition of the Kershaw story, because like the Kershaw story for me, I didn't get into the sport really until I was 13 or 14, which was 1998. So like I've said before, I've got the fish whistle that's been in it that he blew every time he won. And his dad, there's a
every time he caught one. Brian
V. Kershaw Memorial Fund.
Yes.
And his dad was his family was there that was selling it. So like, as a 13-year-old, like I had heard the story, but in 94, I wasn't like actively following. I was 10 years old. I wasn't actively following the Classic, but do you remember that?
Yeah, very well. So here's the story. So here's a guy who fishes the, I think it was Federation.
Yep.
Out of an aluminum boat with a very low horsepower. It wasn't a high-end bass boat by any stretch of the imagination. Barely traveled at any miles per hour, and he qualifies for the Bassmaster Classic. The Bassmaster Classic, if I'm not mistaken, was it on
the very first one that he qualified for? I'm not sure, but the second one was on High Rock, the one
that he won.
Yep.
Was on High Rock. So here's what transpires in that tournament. They get some inclement weather. They get rain. The lake gets muddier than crap. The offshore bite was astronomical before the rain. Guys were literally wailing on them on structure. Offshore. Lake gets muddy. Kershaw finds a shallow water pattern in the mud, which happens frequently, but he finds this pattern and he literally wins the Classic. I believe, and I could be wrong on my time frame, but he wins this Classic. Young dude, lot of hype around this kid. He was going to an event after the Classic, and there was a plane crash, and he died in the plane crash.
I think so. Here,
was it 2 weeks later?
No, it was like 5 months later.
Oh, 5 months later.
I've got it right here. The Brian Kershaw. This is on the back of the fish whistle. The Brian Kershaw Memorial Fish Whistle is a reproduction of the whistle that became Brian's trademark during his inspirational victory in the 24th Bassmaster Classic at High Rock Lake, North Carolina, July 28th through 30th, 1994. Brian was the first amateur angler to ever win organized bass fishing's crown jewel. He was killed in a crash in Morrisville, North Carolina, less than 5 months after his reign as the Bassmaster Classic champion. And then there's a little cool thing on here that's neat. It says, Brian Kershaw was one of those rare people who found the inner power to achieve both his life goal and his dream. His goal to make a living fishing while having a good time. That's a pretty good goal.
That's a great goal.
His dream to win the Bassmaster Classic. Amazingly, he accomplished both of those things before he died at age 23.
Yeah, it's so sad. It was so sad. I remember it. I remember it very well, actually. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. I always thought it was cool. You want to talk about one of the classiest guys who's been classy for all of his career is Brandon Polinick. And you remember the 2011 Classic where he was battling Van Dam. Polinick had the fish whistle from Kershaw. He made it through the Bass Nation in 2011, I believe, and really talked about his story on the stage and all that, and had the whistle. And then I was also really impressed. Yamaha's really stepped up, and Skeeter Yamaha's really stepped up with their support of St. Jude, which, is near and dear to my heart. But all of those anglers had, you okay?
Yeah.
They had is that a cowling on the, not the cowling, the windshield on their boats were kids from St. Jude who had done art, and they put it on there. And then Polinick came up on the final day, took all of his time to really talk about St. Jude and their programs that they paired with Bass with. So
that's phenomenal.
Yeah. And I mean, he was like I think second, one of the most senior guys in the Bassmaster Classic this year, which is really hard to believe.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, this classic was really cool. I have a confession to make. I did not watch a lot of the classic footage when we were there this time.
Well, it's impossible on that. I had a 12-hour drive home, and I would go back to the hotel room every night and get caught up and watch some of it. But on the way home, Bassmaster did a good job of keeping replays and things that you could see. So that's kind of where I really dove into the fishing aspect of it,
which is really wild. So the big question is, there was a lot of stuff at the Classic, a lot of merchandise.
Yeah. Let's see. Did you go shopping, Uncle Frank?
Okay, so I was a good boy, but a bad boy. So I legitimately, the only thing I wanted to do is get my koi keys. That was the real thing that I wanted. Which I did not buy a single one, which is...
Well, you couldn't. They were gone like that.
They were gone in a minute. So I didn't get any, and I'm really peeved about it. But I made 3 purchases over there. And the first purchase the first purchase I have to talk about, I was talking with Scott from the Bass Tank. And I had purchased the 0 degree mount a couple of years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago by now. The 0 degree mount for my live scope. And I was talking with Scott, and he's like, "Hey, did you see the beatdown zeroed in mount?" And I go, "What is it?" He goes, "It's a 0 degree mount." I go, "Oh shit, I already got one. I already got one." He goes, "Oh, you got zeroed in?" And I go, "No, I got the one from a couple years ago."
That was after you fished with me, and we're like, "Oh, I see it." Because I had that one where I was like, "Okay, you're gonna dog cuss this thing for the first half hour, but then once you start hitting it,
it's money." And so because what it here, I'm not. This isn't going to be a live scope show, but we have a winner. No, I'm kidding. This isn't going to be a live scope show, but I just, for those that don't understand what the 0 degree is, if you see the fish and you see your bait with 0 degree, you're on it. You're on that fish. If you cast a foot to the right or a foot to the left, you don't even see your bait. Yep. I mean, you have to be right on target. Okay?
It's like 3 degrees versus like 7 degrees.
Yeah, something crazy. So, anyway, I got to talk about this beatdown mount, because I drive home from the Classic. I get home, see Rach, do that hugs and kisses, throw dinner on the table. It's kind of frantic when I get home, and it's starting to get dark out. And I have an OCD gene, clearly. All I could think about is this mount. So I'm like, "Rach, I got 25 minutes of daylight left. I have to go outside and put this mount on, because it's 60 degrees and tomorrow we're getting 1.5 inches of snow. And I want the mount on." So I run outside and I put this mount on, and here's the thing. There's like 32 clicks on this mount to change your pitch on your transducer, but they're 5 degree increments, where the old mount is 11 degrees.
Yeah, talk for 30 seconds. I got one. I'll go grab it.
So the old mount is an 11 degree. And what that means is, if you got 2 people that stand on the deck of your boat and the boat nose pitches down, I could literally click it up a degree and it's only 5%. So if I'm targeting fish and they're 2 feet below the surface, I could click it up 2 degrees and I can see the bait hit the water. Basically on my thing, I can see the bait hit the water. The old mount is a great mount, but it doesn't have an infinite amount of settings that you could use on it. And this mount was spectacular. So when I got home, I'm outside putting this thing together, and Rachel's just like, you've been gone for 4 or 5 days. You come home and the first thing you do is take your boat apart. And I'm like, no, this is important. It's got to go on. So shout out to Beatdown and shout out to the Bass Tank for that one. You look at that
right there. But I mean, it's stout, but you can see.
And it's metal. It's not plastic.
On the inside, you can see all of the different settings. And then on that side, you can see all those different settings.
Right. And the beauty part about
we lost someone.
No, don't go. This is it.
This is just a quick minute.
I'm just going over the stuff I bought. Okay, we're done with that. We're done.
No, I've actually, they had one because I had like a prototype on mine for the last year, which I really like.
But yeah, so that was a good one. And then of course I got the Outer Realm jig heads.
Oh, you did get hooked up with Joe?
Yeah, I got a whole pack of a whole, plastic box of them, and I would show you, but they're in my boat. Yeah, because I couldn't wait to put anything in my boat when I got home. I'm like, it's going in the boat now. So, and now I'm looking at 2 inches of snow, and the other day it was 19 degrees here, which is like bull crap. But anyway, so I did that. I bought those jig heads. Unique thing about that is it helps keep the bait horizontal in the water. And that's the important part is to keep that bait as horizontal. You don't really want it kind of nose dropping all the time. Anyway, and then the other thing I did, because now I've been avoiding glide baits for a long time.
Smart man.
Yeah. So
we got that one last year at the Classic, that the lightning lures. Remember he customized them for us.
Yes. So I have been avoiding,
like right over there.
Yeah. Mine is. Oh, mine's downstairs.
Yeah.
I gotta put it up. I've been avoiding them like crazy, mostly because I don't want to have to gear everything to start fishing these giant things. But so I started playing with them, and I ran to Willie Pete's booth and I bought the Lil Willie.
You got the little one?
Yes, because
I think I needed to.
Yeah, dude, because I could throw it on my spinnerbait rod or my chatterbait rod, and the Lil Willie fills that same time frame. In fact, we're talking about these shallow transitional bass. Welcome to the dark side. Yeah, dude, there's no turning back. There's no turning back, man. And Brazil, man, it's your fault, damn it. So there's no turning back from this. But they have a place and a time, and these roaming fish, these shallow roamers before the pre-spawn, it's a great bait because you could cover water with them. And when you get a bite, you're generally getting a different food class. You're generally jumping up in the food chain. Now, not always the case. You do catch little ones on them, but for the most part, you're bumping up a level. And I've just seen over the past 3 or 4 years, I've just seen too many really good fish caught on these things to ignore it any longer. So yeah, I'm screwed.
That's funny that you did that, because I went there and I've got mine, and this is the bigger one. I think it's like 2 ounces. It's not even that big, but look at that.
Oh yeah, dude, you got the gizzard shad. That's a beautiful paint job.
Yeah, that's a Willie Pete's there. And then the cool thing that he does, which some of the other ones does, is there's a pin, and then that bait comes in part of 2, and then there's a cavity in there that you can put a tungsten ball or lead weight or whatever you want to.
Right, because you could
if you want to weight it and not just have it as a slow sink. Yeah, it's a 7-inch, 2.5-inch bait, but it's something that I could, like a 7.6.
Yeah,
it's not like one of those giant ones.
Right, where you got to have
it's the perfect size. I would have no problem throwing this in an open. Like, dude, like me and you have caught crappie with gizzard shad that size sticking out of their throat, but it's still a substantial bait.
Yeah, so those were my 3 purchases, and I think I got away pretty good. Because
I think it's way less than $200.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It
it's
was.
not astronomical.
Yeah, it's not.
You
It's not.
you didn't get anything else.
No.
All right, I'll show you one of the other things that I got. And I know this is a LureNet show, so
It doesn't
whatever,
matter.
but sue us. We got Robo Worm. Michael Neal had a special run done of Tennessee Sunrise in the Robo Worm for the Classic only. So if you look at the belly, white, kind of creamsicle-y belly.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then on the front side, bright orange with that core shot in there. So I thought those looked pretty good. So I picked up some of those. And then I got my hands on something that was not for sale at the booth, but after our signing, Dan called me to the side.
Oh, did you get
Dude, these were not like, I don't know if they had them out for sale or anything anyway, but I had heard that there was some stuff coming down the pipeline from Great Lakes Finesse, and the rumors were true about the stay pinned spy bait.
Yeah, this is money, dude.
Dude, he hooked me up with one. I got to choose the color. Look at this little number.
Dude, you got my favorite one. Look at that.
He said, and Dan has probably caught more giant smallmouth than anyone else in the room, though. But he said the hook to land ratio on these things goes from like 60% on a standard spy bait to like 90% on these.
Oh yeah, it's for real. And you know, the stupid thing is I didn't get any. Like an idiot. I had the opportunity and I should have, and he kept telling me you should take one of every color. And I'm like, I didn't get them because I didn't want to carry everything around.
Yeah, so it's like one of those things where this hook pops out of like the hook holder and then swings. So when you have those smallmouth that come, you don't just have them on that one little hook. Boom! Now they're pinned. Now there's 2, 3, 4 hook points in it, and it's just a hair smaller than the other spy baits out on the market.
Which it's actually the perfect size in my opinion.
I was very happy to see that.
So yeah, I think you could get them on LureNet right now if there's any available.
I'm looking right now.
I'm almost sure you can. There's a lot of stuff on LureNet right now.
Yeah, we'll go through that.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Here it is right here. I don't know what this. There it is. I wonder if it shows the top there, where it shows that hook that pops off of the back. You can go, this is on LureNet. Yeah, there it is right there. See how that hook, like, that's brilliant. That's a vintage Great Lakes Finesse move right there.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. And the funny thing is I was messing around with them, and before the show opened, and we were setting up the booth, and I was messing around with them, me and Frankie, and I put them back in the package, and I was stacking the packages up, and Dan's like, "Who's bleeding? You're getting blood all over this." And I'm like, "It's not me, dude." And I go like this, and it was me. Those hooks were so sharp, I didn't even know they went in me. It was unbelievable.
Oh yeah, there's like holes in the gill of this thing that promote there's all sorts of stuff on this bait here. But I think
the other thing I like about this bait versus some of the other ones is the blades are matte black.
Mine are matte too.
They're a matte finish. They're not shiny blades like spinnerbait blades. I think in the super clear water, sometimes that's a deterrent. It takes a little bit of the naturality.
Yeah, it says it's out of stock right now, so it's not in stock yet.
Outstanding.
Not in stock yet, but I was super pumped to get my hands on the stay pin spy bait. And then he's also, I almost just did what you did.
See what I mean?
And then he's also going to send me some of those new Great Lakes boxes that are. I was like, he's like, dude, I need to send you a set because I said I've got all this Great Lakes stuff. Because remember, they sent me double.
Yeah,
they sent me your order too, like a year and a half ago, and they're all in like Rubbermaid Tupperware tubs now. So
yeah, his boxes are unique.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right, screw it. We'll just go over what came out too, because there's a bunch of stuff. So the spy bait and then the bags that they came out with, those are very handy bags.
Those are waterproof bags, by the by.
and then some bigger drop kick shads.
That's what I'm happy about.
But they put them in the clamshell. Thank God.
Yes, that's what I'm happy about. The bigger drop kick shad.
Yeah, and then what else was it? There was a bunch of other stuff. Oh, this was cool. We haven't seen a new spinnerbait trailer come out that has that's kind of old school, and we did that big spinnerbait show, but new spinnerbait trailer.
Yeah, I'm happy to see those. I like the knobs at the end because it helps the tentacles move. I'm a big fan of the split tail trailer, especially when I'm throwing any kind of willow leaf blade. I love the split tail on the willow. I think it gives it a more streamlined appeal to the bass. If I'm throwing Colorado blades, then I like something like a big grub or a ringworm as a trailer.
Now I'll say this. This is the most slept on. It's not even a slept on. It's the original. If you remember when the chatterbaits first came out, Frank.
Yes.
This is one of those original chatterbaits, and you can see in there. That's how they got hooked up with Z-Man. They're back in the day originally went from Rad Lures, but Ronald A. Davis, who invented that bladed jig thing, said that trailer, which is this very similar shape on this, if you're looking for an erratic action on your chatterbait, so something that doesn't keel it to where it just goes like this, that trailer allows to where when you burn it, it'll go and shoot out. So when you're looking for that fleeing bait fish and stuff, that is the best chatterbait trailer on the market. That's what the bladed jig was designed around.
Right.
That trailer right there.
I'll tell you something crazy. You know what is turned out to be one of my best chatterbait trailers? You won't even believe this. The Yum forward facing sonar minnow.
Yeah, same concept.
Yeah, I that to me has turned out to be one of my best chatterbait trailers. On the 5-inch, I cut the head off behind the gill plate.
Okay.
When I want the bulk. When I don't want the bulk, I use the 4.
We're gonna lose some more viewers.
What's that?
We're gonna lose some more listeners.
Why is that?
Because I'm about to pull up the brand new Yum Scottsboro sniper shad, which also
there they go. Pew, pew, pew.
Can also be used as a trailer in any way too, but kind of a new updated take on a new Yum minnow.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that because they got some colors in it that I really like. Yeah. The crazy enough thing is I'm about color, obviously. And so if I see a color that I like that I don't see somewhere else, I kind of snatch it. Just because of the difference.
Yeah, we'll see what it looks like here. I haven't seen this video yet. Oh, yeah, that rolls very nicely. Good size there. Yeah. It kind of looks like it's got that Scottsboro elements of that swim bait in it.
Yeah, it does. It does.
There's also like some new merch, some shirts, an ultra finesse jig. A Rebel ultra finesse jig kits, like some stuff like that, but like hardcore bass stuff.
Yeah, the bank.
And then the Bone series.
Yeah, the Bone
bunch
series.
Of new stuff in the Bone series. Now, what did you say the difference was before? I know that the first time that I really was keyed into the importance of bone and not white or anything was when it was like day 4, number 3, where you took the old Rogues
and scraped the chrome
took the back of a knife, scraped the chrome off to show that was that butyrate or that bone.
Yeah,
the bone color underneath it, and now there's a bunch of bone stuff on the market.
Right. So the appeal with the bone is it appears white or off white, but it has a glowing effect. The real bone color has a glowing effect in the water, so it makes it much more visible. Especially in off-colored water, it really is pronounced. And then in clear water, it's not as vibrant as white or as vibrant as chartreuse would be, even though chartreuse looks like a bright white. It's in clear water, it's got a subtle appearance. In off-color, dirty water, it's got a bright appearance. That's the beauty part about bone.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be true bone. It can't be. It's got to be that true bone color. Anytime you start to deviate that on the spectrum, you start to change the way the color looks in the water.
There was around, God, this is going to sound old, around the turn of the century. It was, I just remember this in fishermen back then, like the Linders and all that, had a huge, and it got real popular, like all white / bone or all black. And in the Assumption Bass Club there, like I know my buddy Darren, a bunch of the guys, and then it trickled to where it was, everything was black and blue, or you match it, or chartreuse and white. And that was like the giant push for like white flipping jig, white trailer, bone flipping jig, like all one solid color, primary color, either bone, white, or black.
Full confession, back in the old days, I used to throw a lot of black soft plastics. I threw a black lizard, and there was an old bait called a salty sensation. A buddy of mine, Dale, turned me onto it when we were younger, way younger. And
we had a dude in the club, and that's the only thing he threw.
Dude, I'm not BSing, man. It was
Doug Foster. His go-to was the salty sensation, and he would always linger on the S's. We made fun of it. We would say, what would you catch it on? Like, what'd you catch him on today? And the running joke was a salty sensation.
But and
that in a decade.
Yeah, and it was bad to the bone, man. I mean, it was unbelievable. And you get away from things because they're not cool anymore. They're not new, and it's very unfortunate. The original one was the deal. There was some knockoffs that came out later, but the original one was the deal. It had a thinner head, a fatter abdomen, and then it went thin to the tail. And basically it was, a lot of guys called them turkey feet. It had 2 curly tails on the side and 1 curly tail on the tail end of it. I think, oh my gosh.
You know who made it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Mr. Twister had a version of it, but that's not the original one. The original one, I think, was from Toledo Tackle.
Was it like salty or salty? SALTY.
SALTY.
Sensation Toledo Tackle.
Yeah, I believe it was Toledo Tackle back in the day that had them.
Boy, this is.
But I used to throw it on an 1/8 ounce and a 3/16 ounce when you're flipping it. I'd boil them for like a minute and a half and make them super soft, and they would just roll up over a limb and come down. And Dale and I, man, we hammered fish on them. I mean, it was ridiculous, the fish we caught on them. And that was like our number one go-to Ohio river bait.
Yeah, I got nothing. There's like not even an old picture of it or anything.
Dang, dude.
Oh, speaking of which, what Joey Mac and Cheese gave us?
Yeah, dude. And Frankie's got mine. He put him in his.
I got mine. The OG Guido bugs.
Yeah, and dude, can you believe that how in good shape they still are?
It's literally like they were poured yesterday.
Yeah, they're brand new. Feel how soft that thing is.
It's unbelievable. I'll go big screen on it. It actually is just like this plastic. It's still, it still says Guido bug on the bottom.
Oh yeah.
It's like mint condition.
Oh yeah, dude. No, there's no bleeding. It's not milky. They're perfect. They're absolutely
was not expected. Just a Ziploc of Guido bugs.
I know.
You're never getting those back from Frankie.
Yeah.
They still smell brand new, like they're straight from the factory.
I'm serious, man. I went through my stuff when I got home. I go, where the hell are my Guido bugs, man? And then I'm like, oh, Frankie put them in his backpack. They're gone. He'll use one as a jig trailer and it'll be over. I'll never get them back.
Very true. Fishing wise, what are your thoughts on this I mean, 3-4 tournaments have been won recently. You could take that invitation on Santee Cooper as a brush pile deal, but the Bassmaster Open, look at what they did in the last BPT. This Bassmaster Classic, it's very apparent. I've heard the word flats, ditches, shallow drains. Mm-hmm. I've heard that way more this year, and the younger kids too. Basically, if you look, they're not fishing a specific structural element there, and regardless of forward facing or not. And I experienced this on Rayburn. We talked a little bit about it, but now that's exactly how the Bassmaster Classic been won. Dylan Nutt said he learned this Pickwick, his time on the shallow bars and things like that too. But it's like very precise yet indescript things that they're fishing to really target these fish that are in transition periods between the true pre-spawn and the true spawn.
Yeah, it's not unique. It's been happening since the beginning of time. It's not a unique thing. It's one of my favorite times to fish in the spring is this transitional time, because the structure that they're using is subtle. They want to be more flat related. There has to be a break, a ditch, or a drain nearby, and depth is all relative. Depth is completely relative to the lake you're on. So like on Watts Bar, we were fishing an ABA championship on Watts Bar, and it was early spring. In fact, in pre-fish, the warmest day we got was 19 degrees. And my partner and I were catching them mid-creek back on flats that were 4 to 9 feet deep. At the end of the flat, it would break into the creek channel. And sometimes the creek channel would be 15 feet, sometimes it'd be 25 feet, but they weren't on the transition. They were on the flat. And I was slow rolling a spinnerbait and throwing an XR50 on them. And we beat the brakes off of them, and giant female fish. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. But that's what they do in the spring. And I cut my teeth on Lake Norman. I figured this out on Lake Norman. And you can have a lot of these fishing areas to yourself, because some of them are mundane looking. They don't attract a lot of attention, and a lot of these things aren't really accurate on any maps either, because you know how it is with drawdown lakes, especially when it rains and floods, and it changes things around down there. So where what once might have been a mud flat, you get a flood and you get a lot of water runoff. It washes the mud away, and now you've got a gravel spot on this place. So what's good one year isn't necessarily good 2 years later, because the flooding conditions could change a lot of that. It happens a lot on the Mississippi River. Your river systems continuously change. When you're fishing up the river on a reservoir, for example, that changes. It changes more than a main lake section of a reservoir, because as the water gets to the main lake, it slows down. It doesn't have as much current, so you're not washing a lot of the mud away. But as you get where the lakes narrow and start to go into the river, that changes. And those shallow gravel bumps are funny you mentioned Pickwick. I was on Pickwick in a tournament one time, and that's exactly what I was fishing. I was fishing 4 foot high spots on these 6 foot to 8 foot deep.
That's exactly what this pattern has been, adjacent to spawning areas primarily.
Absolutely. And here, Bandit 200, I wore them out.
Just grinding it into the bottom like you would with a DD22 and 12 foot of water. You were doing the same thing shallower with an 8 to 10 foot running crankbait and 4 to 6.
Yeah, I mean, wore them out. And it was unbelievable. And it was very predictable.
Yeah.
Very predictable.
So one of the things that that's weird that I'm a 41-year-old guy and this is the stuff that I think about on long drives, there's a lot of trendy, this is going to kind of full circle back, but there's a lot of trendy shallow flats like finding fish baits right now, like Nico rigs are hot. Obviously the koiki, the dice style bait that we're seeing. We saw Drew Cook do it this week in the Bassmaster Classic with a jerk bait, shallow,
Carolina
where they're covering water. Yeah, but on that shallow, and this is something that you have as a staple. What?
Look how you blew over the Carolina rig.
Yeah. Easton caught a big one on it on the day one that he was leading it. But something that you have done for a long time, I know this. We've talked about it. You have videos of you out there. I remember you talking about doing those pre-spawn shows. You were trying to find the fish before they're up on the bank, but when they're not out in the pre-spawn, is a flick shake rigged yum dinger making long casts on a spinning rod. And if you combine what the dice is or the urchin and what the Nico rig is and what all of this stuff is, like that is exactly one of your go-tos that we've done actual day 4 shows on that exact thing, just named a little bit different.
Right. I do 2 things. I Ned rig with a 5-inch dinger and I flick shake with a 5-inch dinger. It gives me the subtle presentation. It gives me the ability to cover some water. And when the fish are there, you find them. I have other go-to baits. I like the 200 Bandit when the depth's right, and the Norman middle end is the greatest search tool ever. There's an old In Fisherman article about search baits, and this is decades and decades old. And they said the number 1 search bait crankbait was the Norman middle end. And I can't remember what issue that article came out in because it was a long time ago, but I 1000% agree. Yeah. Brazil got converted.
Yeah. Wasn't he in the boat when you guys just waxed on him?
I think Brazil was in the boat with me when we were musky fishing.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you talking about that, though, but you're talking about a 1/16 or an 1/8 ounce flick shake, literally just in the middle, long cast, letting it go to the bottom, popping it back up. That you're using those plastic baits as a search bait on those flats.
332nd is my go-to.
It's interesting. So this is related to forward-facing sonar because we've seen with what these guys have done, targeting these individual fish that were up shallow, but there was that week or 2 transition period, the same like there was in the fall when you had the turnover and the fish, and you said, well, you just don't catch them that time of the year. The fish are lethargic. We thought they were sitting. No, they were out in the middle above the thermocline eating the crap out of bait. And that's why you weren't catching them on the bank like that. Like literally, like you don't see, that time of the year now with forward facing is like, dude, you go out and catch more than any other time of the year. I think there was that little missing gap window in the spring too, like what we're in right now, when that water goes from 52 to 58 or 55 to 60, that first kind of week transition. You're saying, oh, those fish are getting ready to move up to no, they're up there roaming shallow. And that's one of the cool things that Forward Face has done, is showed like, look, all these big fish. And I don't know whether they're using that shallow, that 4 to 8 foot range to like look for a good bedding place, or whether they're actually using it like kind of as a highway to meander to where they know they're going to spawn. I don't know if you can actually like tell that, but I mean, it's a very distinct pattern that we've seen.
Yeah. So back in the day, I did a show, Ice Out. And I said that up north, where the lakes freeze at Ice Out, the fish are already where they want to be. And this is crazy because they'll move under the ice, predicated on the length of daylight. It's not predicated on water temperature. It's predicated on the length of daylight, and they already move. So I was doing a video on the suspending rattling rogue, and I had been plastering them all winter long on a deep outside drain that went all the way out in the main lake, very similar to what you see in Texas. And I'd been plastering them all winter out there. And then Ice Out came. We had to do the suspending rogue show. And I immediately went to a spawning flat that had a distinct drain in it, except the drain was only 8 feet deep. All the rest of the water was 4 to 6. and my cameraman and I absolutely plastered them. And the water temperature was 40 degrees. It was 38 degrees 2 days prior and was 40 degrees. Yeah, this year they'll be spawning under the ice. Yeah, where we live, bro. That's what it seems like. And they're already shallow, and they use those flats. They know where they're going. I don't think it's like a salmon that runs upstream or a steelhead that runs upstream to spawn. They know where they're going. And smallmouth bass run up rivers to spawn too on some of the larger lakes. They'll run up. So there's a faction of smallmouth that'll migrate up the rivers. And I've seen this all along the Great Lakes. The water temperature is way too cold. You're still catching fish on blade baits, 20, 30 feet deep out in the lake. And there's this faction of smallmouth that are already up the rivers. They already went. So they didn't just go there the minute the ice left. They started traveling there while there was still ice on the lake. So it's just crazy. I mean, Scope's teaching guys a lot about bass behavior. And I think, it's a learning tool, and guys that might have struggled structure fishing or following the fish through their transitional stages, Live Scope's giving them a better understanding of their transition.
Yeah.
Where, back in the day, I had a system of how I fish out to into out, depending on what time of year or what transition it is, to run into the fish. I put a lot of the pieces of the puzzle together long before Live Scope came out, but Live Scope just proves it. I mean, it just proves it.
I'm curious on your thought process as to why. So like on Rayburn, it's 9.5 foot low. Obviously you had like little ditches where I caught him on day 2. There would be like nothing for a couple hundred yards, and it was a sand bottom, but then you could see that it got a little bit harder, same depth, and there'd be 3 or 4 fish sitting around it. Like in that shallow, like why do the fish stop on hard spots?
It's different. Bottom composition matters. If you spend a lot of time on the Great Lakes, you'll notice that there are times when the smallmouth want to be in the clay mud transition, and there are times when they want to be in the sand rock transition. So what happens is, like even perch fishing, I realize that there's certain bugs and invertebrate that use the mud. And so the perch will gorge themselves on these bugs. So they'll be over the mud transition a lot of times. And I think it has to do with a comfort zone that they have. I think they feel more comfortable around something solid, but it's noticeable to them. And I believe that the harder bottom might hold heat better. Although black mud in Santee Cooper holds the heat the best, that those dark bottom bays warm up immediately. But I think bottom composition is very important. Even fishing vegetation, certain grass grows in mud, certain grass grows in sand, and I think it matters. I see a very big preference that fish have with bottom composition.
And if you watch the screen in the Classic, there was obviously the rolling kind of drop off areas where you'd see 1 or 2, but also it's kind of like bait too. So like if you have a 6-inch depression or a 1 foot depression in 4 foot of water, that's 25% of the water column, where a 6-inch depression in 30 foot of water or 20 foot of water is 2% or 1% or a quarter percent of the water column. And it's kind of the same way. And you've talked about this with baits too, where like a 10-inch worm in 2 foot of water basically takes up half the water column, which is why you see a lot of smaller compact flipping baits up shallow, as opposed to a 10-inch worm in 20 foot of water takes up 1/20th of the water column there, which is why you use typically bigger soft plastics deeper. But it's interesting to see how much more important the subtle differences are shallower than they are deeper. And I'm assuming it's just that depth, that magnet, that not
it's more prominent shallow.
Yes, more prominent.
Yes. The less this is, I'm probably gonna give something away. I don't probably should.
That's what we do on day 4, Frank.
One of my tricks on the Great Lakes is I try to find flat, mundane areas in the lake, and then look for the smallest structural element on that.
That's what these I say it. That's what these kids are doing around the country.
Yeah, that's what I do on the Great Lakes. I've won a lot of money on Lake Erie fishing stuff that most people would never find in a million years, and they're nothing. They're little tiny, like you said. It's a 12-inch dip, but when you're talking about an area that's as flat as a piece of paper and there's a 12-inch dip, that's the holding spot. Mm-hmm. You don't catch 100 bass on it, but when you catch them, they're giant because it's the most primo place around there. And so that was a big trick of mine that I look for, and I do it a lot on inland lakes too, because I want to find stuff that A, isn't getting the fishing pressure, and B, that will replenish and is a bass magnet. The cool thing about a spot like that is it's not going to hold 100 bass. But if it holds 4 bass, they're going to be the biggest 4. And it'll replenish itself, because that's like, here's a trick. Okay. So they did a study on bass. This is crazy. I saw this decades ago. They put bass in a white round bowl type aquarium. No hard edges, all white, no color differential. They put the bass in there, and the bass just swam around and kept swimming around. Then they took a piece of black electrical tape and put it on the side of it. All the bass went to the electrical tape and stayed there. That's the best way I could describe this to you. That bowl had no definitive edge, no definitive lines. It was literally a smooth white bowl. And the bass swam around. As soon as they put that piece of black electrical tape on the side of it, they all went there and stopped swimming. So I think that's what that isolated thing in the middle of a nothingness is, that black piece of tape. They just go to it. I can't tell you how many bass I caught off of my buoy ropes back in the day. You throw a buoy down there, and then all of a sudden, I always fish by the buoy before I pick it up, because that white string goes down and there's a freaking bass on it. So, I mean, it's wild. I mean, it's really wild, but it's true.
So that led me to something else. It's called the scutter bug now, but that OG, what is the biffle bug head called?
Wobblehead.
The wobblehead.
Yeah.
So the heavy wobblehead, and I've got a derby coming up on Grand here, but there's a lot of shallow pea gravel flats on Grand.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, dude.
In my head, I've always envisioned, we've been doing this for 15 years, it came out, you put the bug on the back, 20-pound test, point it straight at it. And I've always had a difficult time with that technique because it seems so incredibly random. And I couldn't picture, like, are these fish sitting down there because you're casting, your boat's sitting in 6-8 foot and you're casting into 2 foot and you're just grinding this thing across a boot, dong. And I'm like, what are these fish doing? Are they sitting there? Are they swimming? Are they looking? But when you combine everything that we just talked about today, what that bait is doing is it is basically acting as your forward-facing sonar, and it is going on the bottom, following the exact contours of that bottom and going into those little subtle depressions.
Yeah.
So in my mind, it was just, you just see a point and you're thinking, oh, it's going to stay. It doesn't just stay identical. You have those little depressions, those dips. And what that bait does is it gets in it. It gets those fish that are sitting down there, and it goes and finds that for you. That's why, you have one cast across a pea gravel point that looks the same as everything, but you catch them on 4 or 5 different casts. That's because those fish are sitting in 4 foot of water on a slight depression or a slighter, harder spot down there. Fort Gibson, Grand Lake, Eufaula, any of these things. And it's always the same type of fishing. It's expansive. It's big flats. It's long, really slow tapering, featureless pea gravel points or pea gravel flats adjacent. And what this is doing is finding those fish that we've just talked about for the past 20 minutes.
Yeah. See, the big key element here is what you said. It's gravel. It's pea gravel. Mm-hmm. That's the big element. And then when you have a flat, the pea gravel area on the flat, it's not smooth, like you said. There's depressions in it. There might be one extraneous boulder on it. There's random stuff on there that the bass will adhere to. And so by grinding that wobble head down there, you're creating a dust trail. Crayfish make a dust trail when they're scared and they scoot away. They make a dust trail. That's natural. That's normal. That's a for a predator, that's a feeding trigger. And so there's a lot of reasons why that works. But the key element is exactly what you said. It has to be a hard bottom.
And that's why,
yeah,
instead of using the 3/8 or the 5/16 ounce wobble head, the go-to, at least around Oklahoma here, is 11/16.
Yeah,
you can move it. You can keep that bait on the bottom, and it puts it in front of those fish. That and that's why it's been so effective, because it's so easy to fish over those fish. But it's that pre-spawn to spawn time of the year. It's that transition time of the year before they've gotten out. It's the times. It's not really like it's a specific time of the year where that's where those fish want to be.
Yeah, and that wobble head type of thing works in the post spawn too.
Yep.
Because the bass will back out the same way they came in. You have to remember that. I preach this over and over and over again. They leave an area the same way they get to an area. It's just what you do. Your approach to them is different. Like before the pre-spawn, I start deep and work my way shallow. After the spawn, I start shallow and work my way deep. That's the deal. The C rig is my go-to.
Even that shallow, that 40.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
That's why it works on Grand.
Yeah, the C rig is my go-to. I could fish it slow. I could fish it fast. I could fish it the same way you fish a wobblehead. I've done it for a long time. That's why usually I have 2 to 3 Carolina rigs rigged.
It's just so depressing.
I'm taking you out Carolina rig fishing this year, and I'm going to change your mind.
There's no different, in my opinion. Here's what a C rig does: it breaks your rods, because now you've got this damn thing that do and you don't even know it. I guarantee you there's more Carolina rig fishermen that complain about their blanks because all they do is stress fracture it with their 1 ounce weight. It puts your line in way more of a position to break off because you're dragging it along the bottom. It creates, now you have to tie 3 knots instead of 1 knot. So now you've created a bunch more. It's more difficult to cast. You can't make as long or accurate cast because you got this thing helicoptering through the freaking air. You have no idea what your bait's doing because you're just feeling the actual weight. You have more of a chance of either missing a fish or gut hooking a fish, and it's not nearly as effective as a wobble head, a heavier jig, a free rig. I can't think of it an instance outside of like a current driven swinging deal, like on a St. Lawrence River, where I could actually see it to where a Carolina rig would have any advantage over those other 3 that I just named.
Okay. I'm going to give you an example. So I was out doing a deep diving crankbait show, and we were beating the snot out of them on deep diving crankbaits. And I told my cameraman, I said, we're going to wear this place out, and then we're going to do a Carolina rig show. So we wore it out with crankbaits and then went through, and I said, here, now I'm going to show you what the Carolina rig can do. And now remember, we just beat it to death with crankbaits. We went back through that area and caught almost as many on the Carolina rig that we did not catch on the crankbait. Okay. Now, to further my point, ran down the lake. I went to another place I had with a football jig and a Carolina rig. All right. Now, my cameraman and both of us are fishing, so we're alternating. All right. We caught way more on the Carolina rig than we did on the football jig. Way more. And here's the deal. Okay. There are times when the football jig's going to outproduce the Carolina rig. But more often than not, if they're eating a football jig, I'm catching them on the Carolina rig.
And the only difference I could say, so we say, well, what about emergent grass vegetation to keep it above? Guess what? casting a drop shot with a 2.5 foot leader on it, because then when you're bringing it back, there's an angle because you're not actually, but a longer one keeps it just above. Now you're actually in contact with your bait and doing it. There's no, I mean, like I would love to get out there with you when you're on a Carolina rig bite. And I don't think there's any way if I combined a football, a swing head, and a drop shot that I couldn't go fish for fish. I could cast it farther. My hookup ratio would be better.
Okay.
And it would be way more efficient.
Okay. Okay, we're going to do that. And then you fish your way, I'll fish mine.
People act like I've never done it. Like, yeah.
No, man.
I grew up, like when I moved to Oklahoma, all I did was go out with Jeffries and we threw a freaking live chartreuse pepper centipede on a 1/0 round bend hook with 12-pound leader and a 1 ounce weight. We drug that thing from freaking Arbuckle all the way up to or Texoma all the way up to Grand.
Well, you know what, dude, I'm just telling you, you do you, man. We're gonna go, and I'm gonna Carolina rig, and I'm gonna show you some tricks that are gonna change your mind.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, I'm going to show you some tricks that are going to change your mind. That's all. It's not going to be the be all end all in every situation, but when it's appropriate, it's appropriate. And you're not going to be catching these. You're going to be catching these. So yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. Now the grass situation that you brought up, I don't even Carolina rig that grass like that. So I get it. I get it.
That got everyone fired up.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it.
I mean, you're just like catfish rigging. You might as well just put a piece of freaking dead shad on there.
Oh my goodness gracious, man! Are we gonna have words? Yeah, I'm happy you feel that way. That just means I can catch fish behind you then.
Drop shot is not the same action. I think it's better because you can actually raise and drop it.
Yeah.
If you ever actually see what a Carolina rig looks like underwater, you have this great vision of this thing going through the rocks, and then this freaking lizard is back there just up and down and on the bottom. And no, it gets on the bottom. It gets a little bit of muck on the nose. There's a little bit of mud trail on it. And this thing is just going, bleh. Not, I mean, there ain't no doo-doo, eat me. It's just, duh, duh, just in the muck.
I have more 20-pound bags on a Carolina rig than about anything except maybe a big crankbait.
Then you make a cast and you do find the hard spot. Now you've got to tie 3 knots. You're 15 minutes later.
When you're snagging up on your Carolina rig on the rocks, you're in the right place. That's all I'm telling you.
Right place to lose a lot of 1 ounce weights.
Okay, man. This is going to be great. This is going to be great because you're not going to be permitted to fish the Carolina rig. You're going to have to throw your drop shot or whatever you want to throw. And I'll throw the Carolina rig. Only.
100%. But if we do it properly, just to cover all the bases, we need to do it in 2 halves. We need to do it where you can only throw a Carolina rig and I can throw the other stuff, but we'll do a 3-hour segment where we can use forward-facing sonar, and then a 3-hour segment where we cannot use forward-facing sonar. And
we can shut the forward-facing sonar off.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Because I think
I mean for both sections. We don't need it. All we got to do is know where the cover is. That's it. I'm telling you, man, I'm going to change you. I'm just going to change your mind. You're going to have it rigged in your boat from that point on. Always. You will have one Carolina rig rigged and ready to go.
I have showed you the deal where I literally made my co-angler cut off his Carolina rig because it was bad luck. And then I caught a 5, a 4, and a 6 in the last 10 minutes after he cuts the Carolina rig off. I've showed you that clip. We've played that clip on the show. I said, I don't know where these fish are. It was on the Thousand Islands. And I'm looking, this is in you could go watch it. The Thousand Islands tournament on Bassmaster. I said, is that a Carolina rig? He goes, yeah. He said, yeah, it's been there all day. And I said, I'm not telling you what to do. I said, but like, if you're not planning on throwing that, would you mind cutting it off? And he's like, hey, he started like, yeah, no problem, whatever.
What is it like a banana? Is it like a banana to you?
Yeah, almost.
Banana. Well, you're in, dude. I potlucked an FLW on Champlain and won 10 grand on a Carolina rig. I mean, I'm just, 3 days worth of fishing, all on the Carolina rig. But it is what it is, man.
I don't know whether to click on these links. I keep getting these messages, but they're from like random numbers that said like, you have a traffic citation. It's going to go up if you don't click on it. 30-day suspension and 35%. Resolve it.
Scams. Don't do it.
But then it's an oklahoma.org dot bike DMV thing. I don't have any.
Don't open it.
Any citations in Oklahoma.
Don't open them.
No, I'm not. I haven't, but it's still like.
So I'm changing the subject because we can't argue about a Carolina rig because I'm going to come apart at the seams. But, Frankie and I had a 29-pound limit in Ohio on a Carolina rig. Mm-hmm. Just saying. And that's all I'm going to say. But if Mark ruined Matt on a Carolina rig, that's because Mark didn't know where to fish it. No offense. No offense, man. Please. But yeah. So that's
a known scam. Is that the Carolina rig or you've got a ticket?
No, that's what your thing is.
What are we talking about for the next segment?
Okay, so we're not really talking about anything, but I have a thought.
Okay, hit me with the thought. I'll be back in 30 seconds. I got to do this.
Well, then you're not going to hear the thought.
Are you good for 30 seconds? I did an hour and a half show by myself, Frank. You can handle 30
good.
seconds.
I'm good for 30.
It is a lot more stressful, though, isn't it?
It is. It is. It is. Okay, so sometimes this is going to be difficult because I need Matt here for this. So we'll just talk about the Carolina rig till he gets back. He's absolutely wrong about the Carolina rig. And the funny thing is that if you're not catching fish on it and you're not catching quality fish, you're not fishing it in the right places. And I'm going to teach him this. I'm going to show Matt side by side, when you're using it correctly in the correct spot, what it can produce for you, because I don't like this argument against this rig. There was a Bassmaster article a long time ago. Mark Hicks wrote it. It was me and Gerald Swindell was in the article. And it was about Carolina rigging. And Swindell called the Carolina rig the quitter's rig. And it annoyed me to no end, because it's not a quitter's rig. If you use it as the tool it's designed for, it will definitely put more and bigger fish in your boat. If you're struggling in a tournament and you pick up a Carolina rig just to drag something on the bottom so you think you're fishing, that's when it's a quitter's rig, because you've already given up. You're not looking for anything new. So we're gonna go through the Carolina rig, and we're gonna change Matt's mind. That's it. So I bloviated for 30 seconds.
And I also lied to the viewers. There was no one at the door. The problem is I was trying to save money on energy drinks by buying the 12-pack of them at Walmart. So they were only $1 a piece. But in the process, it means I go through a lot more energy drinks. And that makes me take a leak about every 45 minutes now. Well, so I really have to get this under control.
Yeah, you do. And energy drinks are bad for you, buddy.
This is that Alati, so it's like zero everything. So I guess is what makes it zero has to not be fantastic for you.
Okay, so all right, so this is a thought. So yesterday, I ran up to the gas station. I had to get fuel. And while you were gone, Frank's cursing and trying to get you guys canceled. So
so that you could fish on Thursday mornings this summer.
Outstanding, JoJo. That's great, man.
As soon as I leave, Frank, you know what really grinds my gears?
Yeah, exactly. So I go to the gas station and it's packed, crowded, like I've never seen it before. 4 cars deep waiting to get to the pumps. Yeah, I go inside and there's like 2 lines all the way inside, all the way around the inside of this gas station. I'm like, geez, what are they giving money away? And anyway, this lady comes in and she kind of meanders to the front of the line. And I know she's not cutting in line. She just has a question that she has to ask. Who's it? I wound him up. And she had a question she had to ask.
Yep.
So she's asking the people at the gas station, hey, my gas cap broke. Do you have a pair of pliers or something? I'm literally on empty. I can't get home and I can't get the gas cap off. And so I literally stood there for a second and nobody is responding to this woman. So I said, hey, let me check out. I'll take care of it. I'll fix it for you. I'll get it. And she's like, are you serious? I go, yeah, I'll get it. I got it. So anyway, so I went out there. I got her the cap broke. So the piece was in there. I got it out for her.
Just with your fingers?
Yeah, with my old man strength.
Nice.
No, I had to get my hands inside the stupid thing, and I had to.
Yep.
It was a pain in the neck, but I got it. And so, anyhow, it got me thinking a little bit. And now, as minute as that was, it was minute. But sometimes when you're in a position to help someone, you should kind of be happy to do it, because that could be God answering someone's prayer through you. You don't know. I mean, if you ever broke down on the side of the road and you got no way to get going again, and some random person stops by and helps you out, you know what I mean? Remember at your wedding, the story Court's family told?
Yeah,
they broke down.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I mean, in today's world, I mean, people get too carried away with their own unimportance.
No, there she is. She's listening.
Yeah. And so I just think that, no act of kindness is small or random. You don't know the far-reaching effects that what you do to help somebody's going to have. And I had to say that, because I started thinking after, and as dumb as the gas cap was, believe me, a kid could have fixed it for her. That's no big deal. But I started thinking about all the times that I was stranded somewhere or broken down, and by the grace of God, some random person would be there. Like I was on Winnipesaukee. This is a fishing related story. I was on Lake Winnipesaukee, the first time in my life I've ever was on this lake. And I was practicing for an ABA championship. And I was pressing the luck that I could ever have. I was so far away from where I launched the boat, and I was fishing until pitch black. And I was coming back, and my freaking motor stopped running. And I have no idea where I'm at. And it is literally nighttime. And I hear an outboard motor, just random outboard motor going. And so I started yelling, hey, I need help. I'm out here, because it was dark. Well, here comes this guy in a basically it was like a big canoe with like a 10 horse or a 9.9 on it. He came by, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that I'm in the middle of nowhere. And he comes by, and I said, hey, I forget the name of the place that I launched. I said, I launched over here. Can you just get me to the other bank on this lake, and I can troll and motor my way around till I find it. He goes, no, I'll take you right there. He strung a rope up to my boat and pulled me all the way to where I launched, and it literally took us almost 40 minutes to get there. And it was pitch black. I mean, filthy black out. It was nighttime. I got to the ramp. It was like 9:30 at night. And so, I mean, here I'm thinking about
spending the night out there if he just goes and minds his own business.
Yeah, if he doesn't come to my yelling, I'm literally gonna spend the night floating around in my boat until
I'll say this: when it comes to helping other boaters, I shared that deal how we had a wild thing happen a couple weeks ago, and I've had some crazy stuff happen on the water before. There's probably 2 people, 3 people, 2.5 people in this industry that I would have a real
Carolina rig.
that I would have a real difficult time stopping for if I saw that they were in distress. But you know what? I would freaking do it. And every single other one of those person should do it too, regardless of your personal thoughts around people. Like, there's just a time and a place when you're on the water, when you're doing that, when you're broke down and all that. Like, I can't tell you how many times you see guys, broke down with trailers and bass boats and stuff, and other guys like stop and help them. Now, I mean, if it's obvious they're just changing a spare tire and they're look like able-bodied people that are capable of doing it, but like, that's the one thing where you put aside irreconcilable differences to help a fellow angler in need.
Yeah, I mean, that's, that was just my thought. It's just a thought, but I agree with you, Matt. And if you're on the Great Lakes, it's a law. You can't not stop at a boat in distress.
And I think it also might be a rule in bass tournaments. If you see a boater or a fellow angler in distress, like, I think by rule, you need to, you need to stop, like, legally. I think there's been times literally in Bassmaster Elite Series tournaments where, something has happened and a number of guys stop and some guys go past and they've gotten like penalties for not stopping.
Yeah. You're supposed to stop. Now, if you're going by and there's another person there, they're being helped already.
Yeah.
But that's
a valid question, Anthony, with the question of the day. Does that include jet skiers, Frank?
Nope. If I saw a jet skier in distress, yes, I would help them.
Would you try to convert them into not jet skiing anymore?
No, I would explain to them what they're doing wrong to a fisherman. I did that. I was on a lake fishing and I was offshore structure fishing, and these 2 jet skis come ripping by me, like, on both sides of me, way too close to me. And so I gave them some sign language. The only sign language I knew at the time, I gave them some sign language.
Let them know that they were number one in your heart.
100%.
Yeah.
And didn't think much about it. They came back by me a very, very, very short time later. Told him about it. Told a couple guys. That's pretty wild. Came by me a very short time later and buzzed me even closer this time, and decided to do a couple donuts over the spot that I was actually casting to. In which case I had a double hand gesture for them, and then they went up the river and disappeared. And about 10 minutes later, here comes 15 of them.
Oh, they brought it back. They said, "Hey, let's go really screw with this guy."
So I came apart, and I was by myself, and I came apart, man, and I was fuming. Now it was just principle. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was principle. Didn't think anything of it. I'm done fishing for the day, and I go to the ramp.
They're all there.
They're all there.
Waiting on you?
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to get my ass kicked because I can't fight 15 of them.
Yeah, you can only handle 12 tops.
Yeah, I could have probably, at the time, I could have dealt with about 3 or 4 of them, but I'm in big doo-doo right now. So I went up to the guy who is the biggest, most boisterous guy. And I said, hey, look, we got to talk about something. And they're like, oh, yeah. Oh, you know how it is. You know exactly how it is. And I said, yeah, listen here. I said, I don't give a crap that you guys want to play around in your jet skis. I said, crap, I used to ride motocross back in the day. I get it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but when you see a dude fishing, you got to understand, if you see which way his fishing rod is pointing, go behind it. Don't go in front of it. Go behind it. That's the sign where he's throwing. You know, and I explained everything to them. And you want to know the craziest thing in the world? They all agreed and they said, man, we're sorry. We never thought about it that way.
Now, here's the key. When you said, I get it, did you say, I get it? Or did you say, I get it? Because that would be determining on whether they
What I said was, you come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding. No, but yeah.
And you jet ski over by Sacred Carolina rig grounds?
That's right. That's right.
So I'm calling out a listener. I had dinner with Joey Mac and Cheese.
God, man, what a
Sunday night, dude! It was great.
So
it turned into a bit of it was, God bless Courtney for what she had to go through the whole classic. So it ended up being Joe from the Outer Realm, Juice from Juice's Jigs, Brent from Willie Pete's.
Now you make me regret going home Sunday.
Scott from the Bass Tank, me, and then Joey, and he's showing me his retirement project, the garage, right? I don't know if he's showed you any of those pictures or anything.
No, he didn't.
No, he hasn't. So he's got his side, his and her side. He's got his bass boat with all of his police awards and medals, and high accommodations and some bass trophies and stuff.
His wife's side had vacuum cleaners and brooms.
No. So his wife's side has immaculate. This is like really nicely dug garage, and you say the word, I won't go there. But now people are going to be wondering if I don't.
So
there's you
better find out if it's okay to continue the story.
Oh no, it's good.
All right, because he's a very nice,
very nice. He is very nice pontoon, and next to the pontoon is a smaller vessel.
Jet ski. Yeah. All right. But see, I'm a believer. I'm a believer that JoJo over there has the respect to own that watercraft, that he knows how to operate that watercraft. So so Joey Mac, you got a free pass.
I've showed this on the show. I haven't showed it since last week though. Now I got to make it up to him after I sold that story. Called him out for having a jet ski in the garage. Dude, the juice jug.
Oh my God. I remember those, man. So bad. I remember those. That we used to dump all the fish formula in there. Remember fish formula?
Yeah. So you could tell me how this, like he said, so the bottom screws off, right? So then you put your sand so this is like just a standalone jug. So this is where you put your sand in, right?
Right. So
and then that locks, so it sits on the front deck.
Correct.
Okay. Now in the front, there's this and this.
You pop the lid off. Don't break it. It's one of a kind.
So I pop it off.
You fill it up with your fish formula. And then when you're fishing, you take the red thing out and you just drop the jig or drop the plastic worm in it. Oh my
God, I did it wrong. I thought that you kept the red thing in and then filled it. And then, that makes 100% more sense. So you fill that up with your fish formula, then your jig goes in there. Yeah. Then when it's time to move,
you just put that on so it doesn't
blow. You pop it in
out.
and you're.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even tell me you did that wrong, Matt.
I explained it wrong.
Yes.
Okay. Now this is an honest.
The honest truth is with today's bass boats, that would never sit on your front deck.
I know, but I do have that open coming up on Grand. and I'm really hoping that it's a jig flipping or a brush hog flipping deal. How badass would it be if the juice jug was in play? Like, yeah. I'm debating between it sitting here forever or actually using it in competition for dipping and flipping.
There will be people that get in your boat. Oh, you don't have people in your boat anymore.
No, it's just me.
You guys have it so easy.
Not really. When you know what goes through my head, it's really nice to have someone to talk to.
You have it so easy, man.
What are your thoughts on it?
I would leave it in your showroom because there ain't another one in the world, probably. Not in that kind of condition.
Joey's saying use it. It cleans up. Use it.
Use it, Matt. Use it. Use the jug.
I might have to.
I would, not only would I sand fill it, but I would also Velcro it.
Yeah, what I would probably do, I mean, that's not really, if it turns into that type of derby, that's not really a run and gun type. It's kind of like, we're here, let's start daubing.
Yeah.
So I'd probably just like put it in a Ziploc and then put it in the boat.
That's funny. Good call. Good call.
He said Matt needs the grief counselor in the back of the boat. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been like, okay, like, you just witnessed what happened. Did I do anything wrong? What do you think? Could I have done something different? What did it look like? Did I do that? Like, I had one on the St. Lawrence with a co-angler, and he told me what happened. Like, I mean, it was a 5.5, 6 pound smallmouth. I'd gotten my Ned stuck, popped it free. Fish is coming in. Next thing I know, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to give me like a 24-pound bag. Next thing I know, the fish isn't on it's sideways right there. And it's not on my damn line anymore. And I scoop for it and it's floating because it came from 35 and then it slowly goes away. And I don't know what happened. It was a done deal. I mean, it was done fighting. And then I'm all discombobulated. I'm figuring it out. I can't find my rod and reel. I don't know what happened. The dude's standing on the back deck and I turned to him and I said, what the hell just happened? And he goes,
you threw the rod overboard?
He goes, you were reeling the fish in. You said you got it. He said the line broke as soon as you went to touch the fish. And as soon as that happened, he goes, you yeeted your rod and reel out the other side of the boat. He goes, and then you went after the fish. I said, so it didn't come off? He's like, oh, no, it broke. It was buried in the top of his head. You had a nick in your line. And I said, where's the, and you know, we're 2-point-something mile an hour current. I said, where's the rod and reel? He's like, it's
that way,
100 yards that way. But had it not been for my and then, you know, we replayed the scenario 100 times in our head. Had it not been for the co-angler, I would have had no idea where that rod and reel went or whether I had lost it or broken the fish off.
That's funny. That's hilarious. Matt blacked out. That is so funny. So you just launched it, or did you just think you were dropping it in the boat?
No, I don't know. It was one of those things where when it happened, the fish was close enough to where I thought I could
belly
go like that on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was right there. And because it was out of 30 foot of water, it came up, it didn't go back down, but the fish was drifting away from the boat as my boat's going backwards. So I literally had an opportunity to just grab it. So I had my rod up like this, cause we have no nets, and I was going to scoop it. But then as soon as it broke, my only thought was get it to where I can grab it, cause it was still there. And I guess with this hand, I just went.
I get it. I launched 2 rods off the boat at the Ohio River, but they got hooked on my tennis shoelace. And when I went to jump up on the boat, I launched them over the gunnel of the boat with it.
Have you ever intentionally jettisoned a combo into the body of water?
Out of anger?
Yes. Like, have you ever, like, straight up, like, Ike and Ellie TTBC Olympic javelin just said, no, I'm done with it?
No.
Neither have I.
No, because that's just a plain flat loss of control. Mm-hmm. No, I will say, I will say when Frankie was little, he would throw a rod overboard randomly when we would
Just
fish.
just to keep you on your toes.
No, he was young. I don't even know how old he was, like 5 or 6. And
You're like, hey, Dad.
no, and so he would use my stuff, and then all of a sudden I'd hear splash, and I'd see the tip of the rod doing that as it's going down, and I'm like, no. So what I did, this is true story. So I got like the material that are the
Pool noodles,
the foam cord that stretches,
oh yeah,
the foam cords that stretch, and I tape it on the handle of his rod that he was using and then tie it off to my cleat. And we were fishing in this marina one time, and I caught a crappie, and this guy on the bank goes, "What's that?" And I go, "It's a crappie." And it was a good crappie. And he goes, "Oh, cool." And I let it go, and then I catch a bass, and he's like, "What's that?" And I go, "It's a bass." And he goes like this. He doesn't even speak. He's just, he goes like that. And I go, "What?" "It's a bass." You know what I mean? I'm not looking behind me because Frankie's on the back deck. He's like, "It's a bass." He goes, no, your son just threw the rod overboard." And I go, "Oh yeah, I got it." And I reach over to the cleat and I pull it back in and I hand him the rod. I said, "Stop throwing your rods overboard." And the guy started laughing. He goes, "Oh, you've been through that before?" I go, "Yeah, it only took me 4 rods to realize that I better start tying shit down."
Oh. This was a true all over the map show.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to go left to right to go somewhere straight.
I'm not kidding though. When I saw this, like, I mean, I know there's a lot of good spy baits on the market, but when you put this one in your hands,
dude, there's a bite going on here right now where that would be astronomical.
You should have gotten them.
I don't have one. I'm so pissed.
You got it. Call him.
Dan, by the time I get it from Dan, dude, I'll be cranking DD22s in 20 feet of water.
Call him. Look, I think we've got him scheduled for the show. What, in a week, 2 weeks, somewhere like that? He said, "Hey," he goes, "I know I'm coming on to talk about this stuff, but I was not aware of exactly when."
I forgot all about that. That's how good I am.
Was he supposed to be on today?
Maybe.
Seriously?
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Sorry, Dano. That's right. All over the map, buddy. That's us. Not you just that's what makes this show special, man. It's like pulling the lever down on a slot machine. You never know when them 4 bars are going to show up. That's what keeps people coming back. That is so funny. Yeah, dude, that's got my DNA on it. That is the best one there. That's the best one.
Dad sold me the bloody package from Frank's figure.
Oh, yeah, it was so funny. He's like, "Who's bleeding on all this stuff?" And me and Frankie are looking at him like, "What are you talking about, bleeding?" And sure enough, dude, I look at my hands. It looks like I...
Hang on 2 seconds. I got the greatest spy bait story of all time. It was right when John Cruise came out with his John Cruise came out with their spy bait. And those spy baits just have such dangerous hooks on them.
They're because they're thin and they're nano coated, and they go right in you.
Oh, you don't even notice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if I'll be able to find this. I have an actual video. So I'm driving down the interstate at 75 miles an hour, and the next thing I know, I've got one buried. The front treble stuck in the carpet or the seat of my truck, and it's absolutely buried. Like, could not have been buried any deeper.
Perfect. Oh man, I've had so many hooks in me. I can't even. I was burning flat sides. I was burning flat sides for smallmouth on Lake Erie.
Mm-hmm.
catching some pretty good ones. And I caught about a 2.5 pound largemouth, and I go, oh shoot, it's a largemouth. And I start horsing it in,
Mm-hmm.
And I believe I was with Frankie. He was little again, because I had that kid in the boat with me in diapers, but he was little again, young again. And I'm like, God, man, it's a largemouth. And he was talking to me, and how you do something so much, you don't pay attention. So I'm going to grab the bass with this flat side in its mouth. Okay. And actually it was a flat A that I ground the bill off and put my own bill in it. And I was going to grab it, and I looked at Frankie, and the bass jumped and buried the hook in the back of my hand. And so I got the bass hooked up, and my hand is hooked up, and I can't grab it. For whatever the reason, like a Nimrod, I'm holding my fishing rod in one hand, and I can't grab the bass. So I just lift my whole hand up with the fish attached.
Oh, that doesn't sound enjoyable at all.
Yeah. And I get it. And I get it. And I tell Frankie to take the hook off the O-ring. He gets it off the split ring. And then I let the bass go. And then I pull the hook out, and he just looks at me, he goes, man, you're tough.
I don't know where it is. It's me driving down the highway
with a
well, I had just pulled over, and I was like, hey guys, I'm an idiot.
Can you give me a hand?
Yeah. So what I ended up doing was I had line in the truck. Like I had like a thing of braid like in the truck.
Perfect.
And I pulled over and literally line tricked myself on the side of the road.
Perfect. Yeah, that's wild, man. That's wild. I've got hooks. So I had a muskie. I was fishing with my dad. I caught a muskie on a Rebel Deep Weir, of all things. And yeah, I got the muskie and the hook in my hand, and my dad's laughing his ass off, and I'm bouncing all over the boat with the fish so he doesn't, pull my arm off.
Following it around.
Yeah, I'm following it around. He's laughing so hard, and I'm like, can you get on top of this fish? You know what I mean? It was, oh my gosh.
LureNet, all sorts of stuff still. BTL 25, 15% off regularly priced items if you want to get in on some of the new drop stuff. Really good.
Super
we're giving away
out.
Yeah, we're an hour and 42 minutes in. Super shout out. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna randomly go to the top of the comments like I am now, and I'm just continuing to scroll down and then up, and then whenever you say stop, that'll be today's giveaway.
Stop.
It is metal_fishing_WI, Wisconsin, maybe. Comment was, we're here for you, Frank. And send an email. You have the baits. You have to mail it to him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
send an email to matt@basszone.com with your mailing address
and name.
Screenshot. Yeah, your name and mailing address, and then just a screenshot of your handle so I know it's you. And Frank will get that custom color number 7 that was given away at the Bassmaster Classic out to you guys. metal_fishing_WI. He said, yeah, from Wisconsin. Yo.
All right.
And then if you're not watching or listening to this live, or the iTunes replay, or the YouTube, between March 19th and March 26th at 8:30 a.m. Central Time, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the classic, or if you have a story about getting hooked, anything that's in here that's relevant, not just a post with just like a period or a number on it, just so that you're in it, like well thought out. Or if you have not left a review on the iTunes or Apple, however you Google Play podcast or whatever, leave a review. I'll get all those together, and then next Thursday we'll open the show by drawing one for the folks who don't get a chance to watch it live,
which will be outstanding.
That's not a bad idea. Frank's color number 8, Scalish Bloody Perch.
Uh-oh.
Born out of necessity after an unfortunate incident at the 2026 Bassmaster Classic, Scalish Bloody Perch. combines the instinctual predatory nature of the smallmouth bass with the wounded bait fish profile.
Well, I had quite a few requests for a perch colored rogue. So
oh yeah, you guys don't have a perch colored rogue, do you?
Not a
like a
no. So I think this might be in order. All right.
Did you see what that Jaron Clinch did at the Classic on the final day?
I did not.
He went through the takeoff line as boat number 26 in a 14-foot John boat.
Huh? Was he?
You didn't see this?
No, he was. What was he? Was he actually in the tournament or?
Yeah, watch. He does like stuff like that. So this is the final day. There's the Bassmaster Classic. He bought this boat last week. He does the whole process where he goes through the takeoff line. There he goes. Takes off. Look at him go. Like after all that stuff, Mercer announces him as boat 26 because he waited till everyone went and then just got right behind him on the public body of water and took off down the river. It's worth watching. Funny. On his YouTube channel. He said how I snuck into the Bassmaster Classic. There was 62,000 views in a day.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, buddy Jared. But he didn't do it like he didn't fish afterwards then. He was like, hey, these guys are out here.
Right.
He didn't like mess with the act. He stayed back. So it wasn't like he actually got in the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he wasn't in the way of the tournament.
But dude, I wouldn't have had the balls to do that.
No, that's fabulous. That's what happens when you're young, man. You could do dumb things.
Yeah. It's worth watching it. It's like he's got a half-hour video about how he did the whole thing.
But that's
actually on his way to the takeoff, just dead centered a floater in his little motor, killed it, and thought he blew the motor unit up before he even got there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, some people think it was hilarious. It will piss some people off, but like I said, he did not interfere with anything with it. It is the wild thing about this. It is a public body of water on a public river, and he did everything to where it was
fair. It was not
copacetic. Yeah, it wasn't like he jumped in line and took any, like he didn't take any shine off of the guys who actually earned their way into it and then earned the final day. It wasn't like it was at the expense of anybody who was in the Classic or interfered with anybody who was in the Classic, which I think I wouldn't have said anything if that had been the case.
Now wait till the next Classic. There'll be 50 people doing that.
Nah. All right, let's hit the music. Thanks, Frank. I appreciate it. This was a good show. Thanks again to everybody who was at the 2026 Bassmaster Classic.
Thank you guys.
Killer week.
See ya, man.
We're out. Now we're going to have to plan.
We got plans.
What are we going to call that? We got to come up with a name for the Carolina Rig Showdown.
That's what I would call it.
That's fine with me. Now we have to be in the same place in the same time with a boat and a productive body of water. Decent weather.
Yeah, decent weather. I'm done with this crap we got going on here now.
It'll be 100 this weekend.
For Oklahoma. You guys.
Yeah, 95.
Yeah, did you see that system? It's split. The top part of the system is all freezing cold. The bottom part is all unseasonably hot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same time, same place. Next week, we'll talk to everybody then. See you, Frank.
Adios.